Yeah, so
Yeah.
we're actually gonna go back to this. And we will come back to this, why we completed the square in a moment, but part A just says to find f of 0. Okay, that means
Yeah.
to put 0 in for x. So wherever you see an x, you put in 0.
Okay.
0 squared is 0.
Yeah.
30 times 0 is 0. So this is 81. F of 0 is equal to 81. This is the y-intercept.
81.
Yes, this is where it crosses the y-axis.
Okay.
Let me know when you get that down.
Okay. Okay, got it.
All right, part B is to set f of x equal to 0, and this is why you complete the square, or other things, but in this case, complete the square. So you
Yeah.
have to go back. We have to go back to our work from earlier, and I'll if I scroll up here, we did set it equal to 0, so we did exactly that, and we got it down to this line here.
Yeah.
This last line. So I'm gonna copy that down, and we'll continue working it from there. Okay. So your goal here is to solve for x.
Yeah.
And you do this by taking the square root of both sides. On the right, it's plus or minus, though. There's the two types. So you have x minus 15 equals plus or minus the square root of 144 is 12.
X minus 15. And then you simplify that?
You have to write two equations.
Oh, you do case 1, case 2 on it?
Yes, yes.
Damn, they give us so little room on these problems to like.
Yeah, you're not alone in feeling that way. They're trying to save paper, and then you go and write on another piece of paper and it doesn't save any.
Yeah. Well, that's how our quizzes are too. They're like that small, and it's so hard to like bunch up all your work.
Yeah, I'm a big writer. Sounds like you are as well. It
Yeah,
just,
I am.
I don't know, just bring extra paper. I had a college
Yeah.
professor. He just brought a stack of a ream of paper, one of those real thick things,
Mhm.
just threw it down on the table and said, take what you need for the test. He didn't care.
Yeah, I'd staple it. Yeah.
Um,
And then you add 15.
that's right.
You get x equals 3 and 15. X equals 17.
27.
27. Oh my gosh.
27.
Jeez.
Okay, now we've done so much work here, we've probably forgotten what we were actually trying to do. When you're setting f of x equals to 0, what that means is the x-intercepts.
Okay.
So this is literally where it crosses the x-axis.
Okay.
All right, so if you look at the graph on the right there, we need to start doing some graphing. The y-intercept was 0.81,
Yeah.
way up here. And then the first intercept was at 3.0. And the other one was at 27.0. So not to scale, but this looks something like this.
3.0.081 and 27.0.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. Can we skip C and D? Because I think they'll take away from what we've been doing, and just go to 2 and do the same thing again to help you.
I kind of want to do C.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So I
'Cause, like,
started.
we're gonna have a quiz on this on Tuesday. And
Okay.
this is just like, this is usually what our quizzes look like, and like some of them are a little confusing.
All right. So I mentioned earlier, like we were at this sort of decision point here with
Yeah.
this. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna grab this again. This is to do part C. So it started out as f of x equals x squared minus 30x plus 81, and we converted it to x minus 15 squared equals 144.
Yeah.
Right. Now, instead of taking a square root here, we're going to subtract 144 from both sides.
Okay.
And then we're going to bring this f of x down. So this is now what's called vertex form.
Okay.
Okay, and
What do
this
you
is
wait? What are we subtracting? Is it like a 0 from the 144?
there's nothing. Yeah, you can think of it as 0. Yeah, that's
Okay.
good. Yeah. Okay. And the vertex form tells you the transformations. So you can't really get them from standard form, but you can in vertex form. So that the vertex form, first you have to identify the vertex. The vertex comes from the number inside parentheses here, and then the number on the outside. For the one inside parentheses, it's the opposite of what you see. So it's positive 15.
Okay.
And for the one on the outside, it's exactly what it is. Same number there.
Gotcha.
Okay, but this tells you the transformations. It tells you right 15. The first number is left or right. And then the 144, since it's negative, it's down
144.
104. Yeah.
Okay.
So C is written oddly, but that is what they're asking for. And then the only thing we haven't done in the graph is labeled the vertex. So we'll add this vertex point in. Again, not to scale.
And then sketching is just connecting the dots, right?
Yeah, just a rough sketch. So they want the key features are vertex. Let me make a list here. Key features. Key features are height, weight, no, x-intercepts, y-intercepts. That's probably in it. X-intercepts, y-intercepts in the vertex.
Okay. All right. Yeah, we can move on to the next one.
Okay. My concern is if we do number 2, we may not have much time to do the quadratic formula.
Okay, we could do quadratic formula. Yeah.
Okay. All right, we're going to skip to number 2 on that page because it's a nicer problem to start with.
Okay.
Let me snip that in. Okay, so we got x squared minus 1x minus 20.
Yeah.
Quadratic formula requires you to identify the coefficients of the quadratic. So A equals, B equals, and C equals.
Yeah.
Can you tell me the value of A, B, and C in this?
I'm not really sure on
Okay,
that.
so A is the number in front of x squared. What's in front of x squared?
X.
Number. What's the number in front of x
Oh,
squared?
1.
1. Now see how there's no 1 drawn?
Yeah.
You have to draw 1.
Okay, so if there's just no numbers, you just draw 1.
Yes.
Okay.
With B, it illustrates the point even more. It's really minus 1 that's in front of x. B is the number in front of x.
Yeah.
So it's minus
A
1
negative
that,
1.
yes,
Yeah.
and C is the other number,
20.
negative 20. The sign goes with it. The
Yeah,
operator goes
negative
with it.
20, negative 20.
Okay. Now, that's only part of it. You have to remember this formula unless you're getting this formula on the test quiz. So this is the formula. Minus B plus or minus
Yeah,
square
yeah.
root B squared minus 4AC over 2A. You just need A, B, and C. Like in
Yeah, to add like that formula, like I can, it's like hard for me to do that, but then once I get the full formula, I can usually do it
yes.
easily well.
So very important here is when you substitute is to do it in parentheses. Okay, so what I mean by that is it's minus for a minus 1. B is minus 1. The idea is if you substitute in parentheses, you'll avoid making sign errors.
Yeah.
Okay. Square root, again, in parentheses, -1 squared. So you can even treat it like all the letters are in parentheses.
Okay.
Might help. A is 1, C is -20. All over 2 times 1.
Okay.
Your focus should now be on the part inside the square root. This is where most of the errors occur. Are you allowed to use a calculator? Sorry if I always ask.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Like if you're allowed to use a calculator, do this, but you have to enter it exactly the way I see the way it is here. Like
Yeah.
your phone won't do this correctly. You got to have a scientific calculator. Can you tell me what this becomes?
The whole problem.
Just the part under the square root.
-1 squared minus 4.
4 times 1 times -20. Yeah, what does that reduce to?
Um, 1 squared is just 1, right?
That's right.
Okay, so -1 minus 4 times 1 times -20. -25?
Nope. Nope. So again, this is like if you have a calculator, I would tell you just enter it in exactly like this if you're allowed to.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So, but to do it by hand, which is fine, it's totally allowed. You have to know how to, multiply these numbers. 4 times 1 times -20 is -80. The -80 goes with the negative, become +80.
Okay.
So it becomes 81. And that's why I made that comment that most of the errors are made inside parentheses.
Yeah, I can see that.
And it messes up the entire problem.
Yeah.
All right. So here's what we've got. -1, that cancels, plus or minus the square root of 81 over 2.
Okay.
So now you have to be able to reduce the square root of 81.
And 1 plus or minus 81. And then it's how many would it just be 81 over 2?
What is the square root of 81? This is again, you've got a calculator, grab it, use it.
40.5.
You're doing something else. This is a known number. It's a nice number.
It's what times what
Yes.
goes into.
Yes.
I'm not sure how to calculate that way.
Okay. Can you grab a calculator? Is that, your phone is not
Oh
suitable
my
for this.
gosh, 9 times 9.
Yeah.
I'm not thinking right now.
That's okay. Like, can you grab a calculator? Is one
Yeah,
available
yeah,
to
yeah.
you? Because in your phone's not really adequate because it won't do the more complex calculations.
Yeah, I really only have my phone on right now.
Okay. All right. So this is now, it's now 2 things because you have to do, it's kind of like for case 1, case 2, 1 plus 9 over 2, 1 minus 9 over 2. So you add the tops or subtract in the right and then divide. Putting in the chat a link to the Desmos scientific calculator. It's not the grapher, it's an actual calculator where you can do calculations like we've been doing. So
Okay, cool.
recommend using that instead of your phone. Do you have some answers for me? What is 1 plus 9 divided by 2?
5.
Good. And then 1 minus 9 divided by 2?
4.
-4.
-4, sorry.
Okay. All right, so to summarize, you're given something in standard form. You have to identify A, B, and C. Okay.
Yeah.
Then you have to write the formula. Then you have to correctly put the numbers into the formula. Then you have to correctly evaluate the formula. Lots and lots of places where this can go wrong.
Yeah.
So it's a details thing.
Yeah.
I know you're not a super detail, especially in math, but this is not beyond you. You can do this.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's do another one. That's why I wanted to switch to this. We got a couple examples in. All right. So again, you've got to label A, B, and C. That's your starting point.
Okay, so A would be 1.
Good.
B would be -5. Would I
Good.
put 5x or just 5?
These are numbers. These are numbers. They're not,
Yeah.
there's no variable, just
And
numbers.
then -36.
Good. Okay, now you got to know the formula. I'll keep writing it. You should always write this down when you're doing problems.
Okay.
If you don't have the formula right, again, you'll never get this problem right.
Okay.
It's like trying to, hike without a map. There's no trail. You're just gonna be bad.
Yeah.
All right. So we got to substitute the numbers in. I can't emphasize this enough how important it is that you use parentheses. So it's -5.
Yeah.
Is that clear?
Yeah.
Okay. Plus or minus square root. Again, parentheses, -5 squared -4 times 1 times -36 all over 2 times 1. So I'd recommend having that Desmos calculator up, maybe split screen if you're on a PC. But I'd like you to try calculating what's inside parentheses.
Okay.
This is the main place of mistakes.
I'm gonna just try to do it really quick, like in my head.
Okay.
So. I got 119. I'm not sure if that was right, but
It is 169.
Okay.
And I just, again, I'll just be
Yeah,
repeating
I'm
myself.
supposed I'll take a lot more time making sure, but I don't want to like
Okay.
take up first time.
All right. So again, like you get down to the square root part, you have to be able to reduce that. This one's nice, friendly, it works out nice. What's the square root of 169?
13.
Okay, so this is 5 plus or minus 13 over 2. And it becomes two cases. Can you separate those two cases for us and let me know what you come up with? Do you have an answer for me?
No, yeah, I got 1 is 9. One of them.
Yep. What's the other one?
4.
5
Negative.
minus 13 is negative.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
-4. Yes. Okay. We're gonna go through number 4. Same thing. It's our last, probably our last problem here. So A equals 1, B equals 11, C equals 30.
Yeah.
Write your formula every time. Minus B plus or minus the square root B squared minus 4AC over 2A. It's all about perspective, right? So I've got a student who has to derive this formula in his homework sets. You just have to use it. Okay, so you just got to be able to put the numbers in.
Yeah.
Minus 11 plus or minus the square root 11 squared minus 4 times 1 times 30. Again, put them in parentheses. 2 times 1.
Okay.
Okay. So when you're doing this part, if you're trying to do this part by hand, 11 squared is 121 minus 4 times 1 times 30 is 120.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's 121 minus 120 is 1.
Yeah.
So you have minus 11 plus or minus the square root of 1 all over 2. What is the square root of 1?
1.
Is 1. So this becomes negative 11 plus or minus 1 over 2. Go ahead and do the do that. Let me know your final answers here.
Okay. -5 for the first one,
Okay.
and -6.
Good. Really good. Okay. As always, this is probably a lesson